Welcome everybody to our podcast, Generational Gains, where I have my co-host, Gregory Paul Herlean, here with me today. I'm your co-host, Carson Herlean. We're here in Southern California, where we talk about all things money and finances and life and business from our two perspectives. Someone who's been in the industry for ancient 100, 200 years, and someone who is new into their career. I shouldn't say new. At this point, it's been like 5 years. We've been doing this podcast for a while, and it's been a minute. Still pretty young, pretty new into it. You're still ancient, but we have a good time going back and forth talking about our lives and business. And because he's so ancient, he does have a lot of wisdom to share. So you guys should listen up. He's got a lot to teach me and you guys.
You want to see how young my son is? Stand up, stand up, stand up, stand up, stand up.
No one watches this. Everyone listens. No one watches.
What are these, Carson?
These are jeans and shorts.
Jorts. So, all right. So someday you'll grow up. Okay. 12-year-olds are wearing jorts right now too. Anyways, it's
a good way to start.
Yeah.
I don't even know what we're talking about today. Now I forget. No, we're going to talk about some cool stuff. We're talking about people in my generation when they're making big decisions about college, starting a business, getting into life, and with the new technology we have nowadays in AI, obviously that's a fun topic. We're going to talk about that. Talk about AI, how it's affecting things, whether people will be wanting to go to school, get outside education, whether we're starting businesses, what's worth it, what's not. Just that the whole kind of phase of life of what our thoughts are on that in today's economy. And so I want to start with asking you a question. And I'm kind of putting a spot here, so maybe take a second to think about it. But what would you have done if you were 20 and AI just came out? Obviously, it wasn't a thing.
Well, I'll start with in my 20s. I don't think I said no to pretty much anything. I mean, obviously, like drugs, right?
Yeah,
But like in general, in my 20s, I thought everything was a good idea. That's good and bad.
Yeah.
And I learned that to be good and bad.
Yeah.
But in my 20s, if AI would have come out, I know what I would have done. I would have...
Full send.
Yeah. And it's actually interesting that you say that because they even asked that question. So about 3 or 4 months ago, we just implemented some AI technology into Horizon Trust's business. But 3 months ago or 4 months ago when we implemented it, I had sent an email to my executive team and I was like, hey, Julie, Claudia, if we don't start integrating AI, we're gonna get lost in the dust by our competitors. They're gonna crush us. We gotta get, engaged in AI.
Yeah.
And so...
Was that because I told you that or because someone else did?
Definitely not you. It might have been you. I mean,
no,
I think it was a time, right? Well,
yeah.
It's still a time.
No, it was like March, April this year. Everyone was talking about it. Yeah.
But what's interesting is, of course, my executive team listened to me because they have to.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes they push back and say no, but I was like, we're doing this. If you guys don't do it, I'm going to find someone, hire someone to help us do it. They're like, no, Greg, we're in it. We're going to do it. And so like a month into research on this, Julie, my executive team, sends me an email and she goes, Greg, I just want you to know, I said we should have been doing this 2 years ago and I sent you an email about this. And I was like, prove it. Within 2 minutes, she sends me an email. It's like 18 months ago.
Okay.
Like when we should have jumped into it, right? And she's like, here's the email. And front and center, it was like, Greg, I really think we should do our due diligence and start implementing AI. It was like December 16th. Of
2023?
Of 24.
Yeah.
December.
Wow.
She was right. And so I share that with you because it took me like 2 years to find like, you guys, we got to do this. And old me would have been doing it 2 years ago. And so that's
a good analogy.
That's my answer at 20. What would have happened if it came out?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think too, right now people have the conversation of like, well, because of AI, you can learn so much faster. You can learn things way quicker than you could have before, or even not need to learn certain things because AI can do it for you. And so we were having this conversation this week of like, okay, well, how much of using AI is efficient versus lazy? We don't know if that's the best kind of debate to have. It's more so like, are we losing our creativity and losing our ability to like try things, think, grow, do things because we have AI doing it for us? And is that bad or is that good? And we were having that discussion last week, and I'm just curious.
Wasn't it you and I?
Yeah. But I'm curious if you've had any thoughts in the last couple weeks about that since then.
Yes. I would say personally, I think we absolutely could be losing our creativity or our ability to think and just come up with our own creative ideas and solutions. For sure. That being said, I also believe that AI is giving us the ability to be even more creative if we let it, because I think it will help us think of things we would have never even dreamt of. And so all of a sudden, I find myself, I don't know if you find yourself in these little like tunnels where all of a sudden it's like, can we do this? And it said, and it gives me like a page long of, well, yes, of course you can do this. You got to be careful of this, and this. Oh. So you take that information, and if you just stop there, maybe it's one thing, but then it's like you dive deeper. And so I go into these like deep holes of like, not bad holes, but like I'm getting deep into like, so I think what you and I said is, okay, cool, Dad. Well, I think Jess actually, she's like, well, last time you did this, do you remember what you talked about or what you typed in? And I was like, well, I think we were talking about the scriptures, actually.
Yeah,
like what's the last, because I do it with the scriptures in the Bible. And she had a point. I mean, I remember those days, that day, typically when I'm working on it. But I don't know if my long-term or, my memory is keeping it long-term, because it's so much information that we're putting in our heads every single day. This is just from my own personal experience. Yeah. That I feel like we can only keep so much of it. And so I'm keeping some of it, but I think maybe I'm keeping less of it, if that makes sense. Anyways, that's my analogy. What do you think?
I think it does, because the scriptures is a great analogy. I have too been like, okay, chat, explain these chapters and how like these characters are related or whatever, or what's the timing of these events in the scriptures. And it's actually been a game changer for me. Actually, I feel like I've retained all that information, and now I'm like, when I have a lesson to teach on a Sunday to like a Sunday school class, I take those thoughts and I am better prepared and know more how to teach those specific lessons. So I think there's a push and pull of like, how much are you using it as laziness or back to efficiency? I guess that original thought does make sense. It's the laziness or efficiency. Are you using it to not to do something, or are you too lazy to figure something out, research something yourself? Or are you doing it to enhance your own education and enhance the project you are working in? And everyone talks about it too. It's like, it's the same reason you hire a team. And once you hire an assistant, now assistant does the 30 worst things you don't like to do that don't produce the most money, produce the most revenue, produce the most growth in the company. She does all those tasks, and that allows you to elevate yourself and do double the most important tasks. And then you do it with the next hire and the next hire, and that's how business grows. AI is the exact same way. It's like, well, how can I use AI to get rid of those lower level tasks that allow me to elevate myself and do better things, more higher revenue generating activities that then produce the company to grow more and me to accelerate my own growth more? It's just, how do you do that? It's hard, and I think we're all trying to figure it out.
Yeah, your mind frame, because you're an entrepreneur and a leader, that's how you're thinking. But I believe most people aren't looking at it that way. They're looking at
the lazy perspective, you think?
I think most people are looking at it as a cheat code. Look at your little brother, Cash. Yeah. And not just Cash.
Every high schooler, every 16-year-old,
yeah. And so they're looking to get through the quickest, fastest way to get the A in class, or just to pass the class, or whatever the case is. I don't think they're absorbing and retaining most anything right now, in my opinion, sadly. And so I think schools, it's really changing. But I do think that has been a big changer. But as far as in today's world, I think entrepreneurs and hustlers, people that are like trying to build their business, be more creative, beat their competitors, they are going to be miles ahead of others who don't in their same field, if they use it that way. Same with executive teams. I feel like I'm looking to hire people and pay them more as a base, but they're going to do double the work for only 25 to 30% more pay. If that makes sense. I'm going to get 2 employees for the price of 1. I'm going to pay them more, but I'm going to also, as a business owner, save more. Yeah. If they have the right mentality.
Yeah. Going back to my little brother Cash's example, I think actually is a good 2 ways to look at it. yes, most 16, 17-year-old kids are just like, yeah, have AI do my test. I don't have to do it and move on. But I'm right now going through a program to become a retirement income certified professional. Long, it's a mouthful. And it's basically like a course. You read a bunch of material and take a test on it. And I'm using AI, but not the way my brother is. I'm using it to help elevate me in a way where I skim the whole lesson, take the practice test, find out all the things I didn't know, have AI teach those to me from the lesson very quickly, and take the test pass. I still want to retain all the information, and most of it I know anyways in advance also, so I know 50%, other 50% I'm learning, and AI helps me accelerate my learning to do it quicker, but I'm not losing the ability to learn it or retain it. So there is a way to do that, and you can apply that same idea, opposites, in anything you're using AI for.
Well, this is why I feel like, I'll say the only way to actually retain is to apply. And so I feel like my people on my team that use AI to do a certain action and use it every single day, they are ahead and more educated because they're using it for a certain thing and they understand why they're using it, and it gives them the summary every single day on a certain SOP in the business. If most people are just plugging things in and they're like, oh, the 10 ways to market better on social media. Cool. They got it. They don't do anything with it. They
or
go
just
back,
copy and paste and send it to somebody else.
Or they'll copy and paste and somebody else. But if they go back and they utilize 3, 4, 5 of those things every single day and double down on using AI, I think there'll be a little more retention.
I like it. So to change the subject a little bit, how does AI change college? And how does the technology we have today change that? Is spending $100,000 for 4 years worth it, or spending $100,000 on losing money and starting a business, or raising money and learning mistakes, or could that $100,000 spent on going to school be better spent on other things?
I mean, my quick answer is there's something about going to school and in that environment, networking, building relationships, learning things that you still don't understand how they're going to apply to your business or to you. I still find value in that. So I don't know that I'm the big guy that's going to be like, because look, I'm a dropout, right? And so I ended up going back to school and getting my degree years later. So I'm not all about school either. I just feel like, I think it's too quick. I think some people come out and they're like, don't do school. Just, get right into what you're doing. I think that works for some people.
Yeah.
I don't think it works for everybody.
Yeah.
And some people think they're entrepreneurs and they're not. Some people, I feel like
totally
I was
fair.
talking to a teacher yesterday. I was golfing and he's a teacher of 38 years.
Wow.
And we started talking about AI. And one thing he said is that he's not giving any homework to take home to do to anybody anymore. And I think that's how most teachers are, because they know everyone's going to use chat. But just taking away homework, what is that doing to our generation? So them having the action have to go home, even if they're not totally retaining it, but actually work on their own, taking away from
before they go
sports,
do something fun, they do work.
It's work, and all of a sudden, people are looking for the fast or easy way. So I think it's a detriment to our young people that are leaving, but it also doesn't have to be. And I still believe in today's society, even though we have all these tools, I truly believe hustle is something you can't get out of AI. Mm-hmm. And if you outwork your competitors, it's not just about finding a good idea and using chat to wake up at 10 a.m. and have your coffee and then be done at 2. Yeah. You out hustle your competitors. I still believe it is the number one thing to winning.
Yeah.
AI will just help you do that times 10.
Yeah.
That's it.
For sure.
I don't know, but what do you think? I mean, that's my, as far as education goes, because you have a similar education kind of timeline as me. So you're in the middle of it as far as age bracket goes. So what do you think about the subject?
Yeah. And I think, too, another way to put it, and this is one of our notes we had before this podcast, was to talk about the question, is the American dream dead? With AI, with people changing the way they're learning, with school being more or less valuable, more of an optional thing and less of a requirement, and the traditional route not being traditional anymore. is the American dream dead also? Because the American dream is a traditional thing. It's like you come to the States or you want to be here to get an education, start a business, and be rich. Like buy a house and have a family. Everyone thinks like that's the American dream, right?
It's not.
Well, I don't know. Do you think it is?
I still think it is, yes.
Okay.
I still see young people, they're older now, I should say. Now, when I see a 30-year-old talking to them and they're like, we're going to buy our first home, it still seems very monumental to them. So to me, it sounds like an American dream.
Okay. Okay. So maybe a better question, is the American dream impossible?
No.
Not impossible. Maybe impossible for 90% of Americans. With today, the way to get a house, it's going to be super expensive. To be able to the traditional route, like it's harder now. I would argue.
The American dream. What is the American dream? First of all, I think in general, the American dream is being able to, have a job and buy a home, have a family. Like that's the American dream. Having a job and owning a home. I feel like that's the American dream, is owning a home. Yeah. And in a lot of countries, you can't do that, or it's very hard to do that. So you got to pay cash for it. So I don't think the American dream is no longer. I just think that people are doing it later now. And they're putting...
What if that keeps getting pushed back further and further? And do you think with AI then, though, that the American dream changes? Does AI change the world with AI and virtual realities and those kind of things? Does all that technology change the way we see the norm and the traditional way we think of American life?
I mean, you probably need an answer because I don't. I can't even fathom that right now. I feel like it's absolutely going to change it. The reason why it will is because what happened? All these major things that happened. Did COVID change things? Yes. Did all these major did cell phones change things? Like, did the internet change things? Yes. And I feel like AI is just as big as the things I just said.
Agreed. So the reason I asked that initial question or wanted to bring up this conversation is because of, I think AI is going to change the landscape of what we see the world to be now, in the future, what our goals are going to be, how we receive education, how we learn. I think everything's going to change from it. And I think school, it's already happening, to your point, or to your point you said before this about how you would hire someone if they had experience in the workforce and some sort of technology or AI, experience versus someone who had 8 years of school and no experience, right? So that's the person you choose because they actually can help you get in the business, run it, and go.
Right away.
And so is school then valuable? If not, okay, what's the route? Just, if you're not an entrepreneur, just find ways to learn things, try and learn online. Like that landscape's now changing. And then that's going to lead to the workforce changing. And I just think then the American dream gets pushed back differently or changes. It's all going to change.
It is all going to change. And look, going back to education, I do think that education is a big, big business and it is overpriced.
Fair.
And I believe if you can go get education in a specific field, like you want to be X, you want to be obviously doctors and like there's certain fields like you have to go normal course of education. Yeah. But for anything else, a financial analyst or a bit there should be just specific schools to that. Otherwise, it's more about the experience and having a good time. And also, people don't know what they want to do at 18. Yeah. So it's like, I get college for people like that. That's where most people are. They don't know, and so they just go to college to kind of figure out what's of interest to them. Yeah. And that makes me think my next thought with this too is like, I don't know why I never thought of this before, but everyone always says like, oh, being a lawyer or doctor, like you have to do all this traditional long school. And you're not gonna have all this school debt before you actually start making good money. But if you can be a doctor, you can make tons of six figures every year, but that doesn't start until you're like early 30s or 30 years old and you have $300K of debt. Well, at the same time, if you want to go be an investment banker, you got to spend 4 years in school, 3 years under someone, 2 years doing this, and then you can start making good money. And maybe you don't have debt, but you sacrifice 100-hour weeks for multiple years. Yeah. And if you want to be a business owner, it's going to take 3-4 failed businesses to become successful and make some money that you want to make. And so anything you want to do to be successful in your career or make money, like it's going to take years of either debt or failure or loss of funds. It doesn't matter. And so I think a lot of times we clump like
lawyers and doctors or like traditional schooling in one direction because of like the way school has to be. But like because everything's more fluid and things are changing, the landscape of learning is changing. I think that argument goes out the door of like, oh, I don't want to be a doctor because it's going to be so much money, it's take all this time. Anything you do is going to take that long. Anything you do is going to take a lot of money. Everything has problems.
Yeah, I mean, I lost that much money in my first 10 years. I lost more than that in bad deals.
Exactly. And I have too. I've lost, 100%.
So that is like school.
So anyway, just some different thoughts for you to think about today, talking about where we're at in the economy, where we're at in the landscape of sending
AI.
kids to school, AI, technology, learning, like things are just changing. And we don't know how things are going to change this month and next month moving forward. And we don't know even our full thoughts on everything because it's such a time where there's a lot of progression. And so it's fun to talk about and fun to share different ideas. And hopefully those were some insightful thoughts for you. Every single time we do this podcast, we always end with what we call a sweet, sour, and service, where we talk about our week, talk about what's going on in our lives, and share a little quick insight before we wrap up. But those of you who are always here and supporting us, we appreciate you and love you guys. And we always want to bring up too that if you guys are looking to have, not that we talked about any financial stuff too much today, but if you guys are looking for direction on self-directing your retirement accounts or banking more efficiently or preparing for retirement, those are the kind of conversations we like to have with our clients. And so if that's you and that fits your need or what you're looking for right now, please reach out. We'd love to help. Anywho, any last thoughts before we do some sweet, sour, and service?
Nope, that's good.
So, for me, my sweet is our son Wells is starting to walk. And so he's been like taking a few steps here and there. He's getting more and more steps every day. And it's been so fun to watch that like progression for him. It's been super fun. So that's been a good sweet for me the last week. Mm-hmm. What about you?
That's good. My sweet would be this last week, spending time with Cash when we traveled out to Dallas for a quick 24-hour trip, went to a World Cup game. That was fun.
Super cool. I'm jealous.
So that was a good time. So, yeah.
Good. Well, we want to do all the sweet sound service today, but you guys should be doing it at home with your family at the dinner table. It's a great conversation starter.
Yeah, talk AI with your kids and each other and business partners. I think AI, we all know it's here. It's before us. It's happening. If you're not diving into it, then your competitor is. So have those conversations.
Yeah. I love it. Thanks for listening, guys. We'll see you next time.